First and foremost, I want to get all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Wakakwadash, double honor to the elders and apostle great millstone, and peace and blessing salutation to the Akim out there, the hopeful elect that's pushing his work with truth and sincerity. And I want to do a little sit there going in on Esau, all right? The first precept that came to mind is Numbers 35 and verse 16, and it reads, and if he smite him with the instrument of iron, today, the instrument of iron today is the gun, all right? So that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death, all right? Now that's what, spiritually, when these Jays getting shot down by the so-called white man, which is Esau Edom, that's pretty much their judgment. But to have cases where, the so-called white man just use that instrument of iron, to shoot Jake down because they know who we are, the children of the Most High. All right. And the Lord says, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai says, and if he smite him with an instrument of iron, so that he die, he is a murderer. All right. And what we're supposed to do with murderers is that murderers shall surely be put to death. All right. So we can't currently put them to death in this society, but the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is going to put that them so-called Edomites to death. All right. This is and the Lord mentions this a lot about if a man killeth a man, what should happen to that man. All right. This is the book of Salakia. This is the book Exodus chapter 21 and verse 12. It said, and it reads, it said, he that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death. And this is all Esau Edom, and they does have Jakes out there that breaks this law also, that smiteth a man so that he die, and and they get their judgment from Yahweh Shem Shai also, they get put to death. And Esau, you gonna get put to death, surely gonna get put to death by them nuclear missiles in that time to come. All right. Now jump to 21 and go to 16, and it says, he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. All right. Now having Esau stolen us when they came across the in the Atlantic slave trade, they stole us over there from out the land, the land of Ham, which they ignorantly call today Africa, and sold us, to these other heathen nations. All right. And as of today, we still found in the so-called white man's hands, Esau's hands. And the Lord said, and you will and he surely be put to death, and you will be put to death. All right. The Lord's not playing. You have his people in captivity, and you've been putting your hand on the apple or the eye, the apple, the Shalaki. You've been putting your hands on the men that the Lord, his children that he found favor in. And the Lord is going to deal with you perpetually. All right. This is Matthew 29, Shalaki 24 and verse 29. All right. He said, immediately after the tribulation, this is Yahweh speaking, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. And right, and that's coming into that judgment for the so-called white man for stealing the Lord's people and dealing perpetually with them for over 400 years. All right. This is Matthew 24 and 29. Immediately after the tribulations of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. That's that mushroom cloud, all right? And it says, and the stars shall fall from heaven. That's when the stars that's falling from heaven, that goes into the nuclear missiles, all right? And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, and that goes into these different nations of people, that's ruling, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. All right, and then in verse 30, it said, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, in a chariot, in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. All right, coming with them chariots. At the same time, them nuclear missiles is hitting over here in America. In verse 31, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together the elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. All right, that's the them chariot, that's the holy angels coming in them chariots, what they ignorantly call UFOs, coming to gather, the Lord's people out of the hands of Esau. Because like I said, back in Matthew. In 20, back in Matthew verse 26, it says, wherefore if they shall, Shalaika 24 and 29, immediately after those tribulations shall those days shall the sun be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. Right. So at the same time of destruction, the Lord is coming to gather his people, out of the hands of Esau. All right. That's with that great terror and that great terrible day of our great king returning. All right. And in the midst of all this going on, this is going to be a switch, as you could say, of this world, coming back into the hands of the Israelites and coming to a new rulership. This is Revelation 21 and verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. All right. For the first heaven has passed. For the first heaven and the first earth was passed away. That's the rulership. And there was no more sea. America being destroyed. Verse 2. And it says, and it reads, and I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven. And that's going to be the elect. The 1/3 of Israel that's been saved when that judgment come upon Esau for stealing the Lord's people. They're coming down out the heavens on them with the angels on the chariots, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. In verse 3, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men, with the elect men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahweh himself Yahweh Shai himself shall be with them and be their power. All right, we're going to rule over you, Esau. Because why? Because you have stolen the Lord's chosen. You stole his children, all right? Now go back to that precept in the book of Exodus. That's book of Exodus 21 and 16. And it says, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or he that be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. And that's that judgment you're gonna receive when the Lord return. All right. And go jump up to Exodus 21 and 15. He that smiteth Shalakia. Verse 12, he that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death. And these atrocities that we go through every day in and day out, the Israelites, go through this situation where Esau always find any other excuse to lay hands on the Lord's chosen people. All right. Numbers 35 and 16. And it says, and if he smited him with an instrument of iron, which is the gun, the modern day sword, so that he die, he is a murderer. And that's what Esau is. You read Hebrew Edomites, you're nothing but murderers, thieves, robbers. The murderer shall surely be put to death. And when the Lord returns, he's going to put you to death. Him and that host of angels coming with that great wrath of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, all right, with them nuclear missiles. I just wanted to go into that. Lord willing, was edified. To the next time I say Shalom. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Wakakwadash, double honor to the elders, apostle, great millstone. Peace and bless to the brothers out there, and the Akim, Hofi elect, pushing the truth. Shalom.